Energy was excellent. I saw passion, I saw enthusiasm, and I saw a pretty clean play. You know, I don't know that I expected it to be completely clean, and it certainly wasn't. But, you know, we'll be better tomorrow, which is what training camp's all about.
Any decisions on the quarterback?
No decisions on the quarterback. You know, I don't know if I've said this before, but I think 7 to 10 days before the first game, you know, I think we'll have an answer for you. But I thought both guys came out today and did a pretty good job running the football team.
Anybody jump out at you immediately?
No, you know, I don't think so. It's really hard without the pads on. You know, sometimes, you know, we're in what we call tag tempo here. You know, it's hard for anybody really to stand out. I think, you know, day 3 we'll see some guys stand out. We'll put the shoulder pads on, and certainly day 5 when it's full, we'll do a little bit of live work, and that'll be a better way to see.
Do you come out wanting to get a look at any 1, 2, 3, 5 guys or anything like that you're curious of?
Not necessarily. You know, what I try to do is I try to get around to all the drills, and really what I'm looking for is to see clean football, you know, right now, certainly for the first 2 days. Because, again, you know, without the pads, I thought our receivers did a pretty good job of catching the football. It maybe not as well the last team period, which I think is part of, again, the football conditioning aspect of what you do during training camp. It's a little bit different when you come out here for a 2-hour and 15-minute practice as opposed to maybe a workout in the summertime. You know, I think we're in excellent shape as a football team, but I still think when you come out to play football for over 2 hours, it's different, and that's why you have training camp.
Cal, what was it like your first practice as a head coach? Any thoughts on that?
It was, you know, in the spring, it was great to get out here for the first time with the new staff. You know, now the difference is the clock is ticking towards the first game, and like I said, I think training camp, the intensity level of everybody in the organization, whether it's the players, the support staff, the coaching staff, I think everything rises a little bit when you get to training camp because now it's tangible. That first game is coming quick.
Was there anybody that you saw that stood out physically, someone that maybe changed their body during the off season or since spring?
You know, I see them in the hallways in the summertime, so it's not, you know, it's not that, you know, we certainly can't watch the workouts in the summer, but it's not that we don't see them. So I don't know that I saw anybody significant. I think, you know, Marquise Wright has trimmed down. That got mentioned yesterday by somebody. I do agree with that, but that is something I had seen already. I had seen that, you know, as the process was going on. So no, nothing that surprised me or shocked me.
Kyle, the winner of the running back competition, you envision him being the guy, or do you envision splitting it 50-50 during the season, or how does that go?
Yeah, I think that'll be determined by them a little bit. You know, it's certainly in my mind right now. I think we have two guys at the running back position that could both carry the ball and both do a really good job for us. But at the same time, I've seen what happens when you get a tailback who's really hot. And if one of them gets really hot, you have to give them the touches because that guy can change the game for you.
Did you notice the difference in a sense of urgency? You talk about it, but did you notice it in the players? Any
I absolutely did. There was no doubt. And I think part of that is the time of year. It's training camp. I think part of that is also the return of guys like Scott Vallone, a guy like Kasim Green, you know, 2 guys who didn't go in the spring, who've played a lot of football here, very well respected on our team. You know, when they step on the field, I think the intensity level of everybody goes up.
How did Kasim look since he's talked about not having any real energy on the field for 7 months since that injury? He was out, he was begging you to take reps in the spring, couldn't get them. How did he look the first day?
Not only begging, he actually tried to jump in. but he looked good. Yeah. He looked really good out there and certainly looked like the Kasim Green we remember from last year.
How will you do team captains this year?
Yeah, it's always a combination of the player vote and the coach's input. You know, we always do that. You know, so we'll decide that a little bit later in training camp. You know, we're not ready to do that yet.
Will you have season captains as opposed to game captains last year?
I haven't made that decision yet. I'm leaning that way. You know, I'm certainly leaning that way. I was fortunate to be a captain in college, and I've always cherished that opportunity, you know, as part of my development as a young person, the opportunity to be a captain on a football team. So I know from personal experience what that means to a player, and I think I also know what the effect it can have on the team if you have the right person. You know, and I do think we have some great candidates, but I think that'll play itself out a little bit as we go through training camp.
Cal, did everybody make it in now? There were a couple guys you spoke about yesterday.
Everybody that we expected to be in training camp is here with us and was at practice today, so we're excited about that.
Mason being back, what does he mean, you know, as a 6th-year guy, Mason Robinson?
We were fortunate to have Edmund last year and now to have Mason. I think any time you have a 6th-year player, he can bring some perspective to those younger guys. He almost, again, I don't want to say he's a coach because that almost sounds like his career is over, and it's not. Mason's going to play a lot of football for us. But he's a guy in your locker room. He's one more person in your organization, in your locker room all the time with the players that can give them some perspective, some guidance, and some great advice. I think those guys are invaluable to your program.
Got time for 2 more?
Did you get a chance to walk by and see Darius at all, just because of the level of recruit he was, just to take a look at him?
Not him in particular, but I do enjoy going and watching the D-line and watching Coach Panagos work. That's for sure. It certainly energizes me when I'm around Coach Panagos, so I like to wander over there every once in a while.
Is he more mature, you think, Darius, than a typical freshman, given all he had to deal with as being a top recruit? Is this something you noticed?
That's not something that I noticed, and I'm not saying that it's not accurate either, but I think, we'll see as training camp goes on, what he can bring to this football team. And I think the most dangerous thing you could do to a young person and a freshman in your program, regardless of how highly touted they were or how talented they were, is to put undue expectations. And certainly Darius comes here with a lot of fanfare, and we're really excited about what he's going to do for our program, but I don't have a timeline on it. And certainly, as he earns his reps, he's going to get them, and I do believe it'll be sooner than later. But, I don't have a timeline on it.
Thanks, Kyle.
Thanks, Kyle.
Thanks, guys.